could be alone between city lights. We don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, you guys? How is it going today? We're going to finish this flight. Welcome to the live stream. I'm just going to let it play. I'm flying the Halo RC Osiris here. This is my venture into the world of lightweight quads. Some people would not call 700 grams lightweight, but it's lighter than mine usually come out. I think it's flying pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. And in fact, if you are interested in this idea about lightweight quads, look forward to some stuff coming. Oh, there we go. There's the end of the the end of the flight. The trees get you in the end, my friends. If you are interested in this idea of lightweight quads, definitely look forward on my channel this week. I will be checking out this thick boy here. 820 grams. The iFlight Titan XL5 is 820 grams. Too heavy for a freestyle quad. How does 820 grams fly compared to 700 grams? Well, that is the question, but you'll have to wait until, when is it scheduled for? When is it scheduled for? It is scheduled for October 13th. Oh, that's tomorrow. Ha! Well, you won't have to wait that long. 700 grams with a GoPro, MK. 700 grams with a GoPro. How y'all doing today? This evening? It's evening, right? It's evening here in America, and this is the America stream. Welcome to my domain. We're doing lights off today. Doesn't it look so atmospheric? Man, I wish I want to be that guy. Hey, wait a minute. I am that guy. Hey! Happy, how you guys doing? Is this a little too dark? Is it too dark? Hang on. That's anyway. Come the other way. Oh, is that better? I can't tell. No, we'll put it back the way it was. There we go. It's 2 a.m. here in Cologne, says Ghost Branch FPV. Huh. Thank you for staying up, Ghost Branch. I sure do appreciate it. I do. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I do. I mean, yeah. Yeah, 710 grams with the GoPro Hero 7. If it was a Hero 8, it would be more like 725. If it was maybe more. If it's a Hero 9, it would be more like 750. When you're thinking about saving weight, you got to decide what you're willing to compromise on. And like some people said, well, that 710 grams would be closer to 650 or 660 if you had only used a Hero Session. And I'm like, yeah, but Hero Sessions are hard to get. So you got to decide where you're going to draw the line. There you go. Mighty FPV, I did announce the giveaway last night. I announced the giveaway winners last night at about late, about 9-10 p.m., but I did announce those giveaway winners. That went up. So if you didn't get an email telling you that you were one of the winners, then you probably weren't one of the winners. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. I guess it wasn't you. Yeah, I gave away four Ghost. D Reckless wants to know where he can get those lamps, the lights that I'm using. D Reckless, those are the Neewer. Panel. Let's see, Neewer LED panel. Which one is it though? Ooh, that's tempting. Video panel with LCD display. I don't know about that. That's surprisingly cheap. It's this panel. This kit comes with stands, which you may not need, but that's the panel that I'm using. It's that Neewer panel. There's a version it's this one. Yeah. And the price is coming out. Yeah, look, you can see I'm not making this up. Purchased 3 times. It's not bad. For the price. It's definitely not bad for the price. Yeah. So, I mean, you can see it gets the job done. So, Canon Hughes, I'm using the NT USB, the Rode NT USB. Welcome to the live stream, guys. In case you're new here, we're just going to be doing Q&A. You're going to ask questions, I'm going to answer questions, and 2 hours later, I'll go to bed. I will confess the stream started late today because I was sitting at the table thinking, oh, it's not quite time to put the kid to bed yet. I could go downstairs, I could work on a video. I looked at the clock and I was like, oh, I have a live stream in 10 minutes. I forgot what night it was. Somewhere between this afternoon and tonight, I forgot what night it was. And then I had to run downstairs and like, oh, okay. So, yeah. Thank you, MK. I do try and pay attention to my setup. I got to tell you, I look back. Let me just give you a perspective here. Because I have done a lot of work lately on trying to make my videos better. So, for example, and I'm not gonna like hold myself up. Obviously, there's always tons of room for improvement. Okay, pause. Why are we not pausing? Hello? There you go. So, like, I've put a lot of work into the lighting, into the color correction, into the exposure, and I feel like I've got a decent result here. But if we go back to some of my much older videos, like I was just looking at this one. Now, I updated all of the thumbnails on this playlist recently. That's why I know. Look at this. Wow. I mean, so here's what's going on. There's sunlight. You see the windows open? Sunlight in the background is making the color temperature of the room be just completely inconsistent. Right? So I've got these lights and they're at one temperature. I've got the overhead light. It's a fluorescent. It's adding some green. I've got sunlight coming in. The color temperature is all over the place. And the exposure is, I don't know. Like, I've come a long freaking way since this. Gotta say. I go back even further, it's even worse. Look at this. Hang on. Where's this? See, way better. But, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Oh, so much better. Ah, wow. What is this guy? Who is this? Oh, yeah. Anyway. All right. Shut up. Shut up, Joshua. That's not why we're here, though. We're here to take questions. GRC Sky, do you think DJI will release a updated FPV goggle in the next 6 months? GR Sky, I'm going to say I don't think they will. And part of the reason I say that is because if I do that, then they will, and that'll be cool. I got to say, I don't think they will. There hasn't been any sort of hints or allegations that they might. And why would they? They've done so much with the firmware. So I don't see it, but you can never promise that they won't. You can never be sure. Yeah, I got a fresh haircut in that video, that's for sure. Oh, man. Welcome to the stream, guys. If you're new here, here's the deal. I'm going to be taking your questions here in the chat. Adam Victor thinks DJI will release a new air unit before goggles. That makes more sense to me, Adam, because the goggles are the thing that you hope you wouldn't need to buy again. But air units, you might be like, well, it looks okay. I'll be taking your questions here in the chat. MK says they're releasing an HDMI output box. MK, if you actually have a source for that, talk to me. I saw that leak, but that leak might refer to an internal thing that we already knew existed. Are they releasing it? That would be a big deal. I'm Johnny Stipes. I'm drinking iced tea with lemonade. Arnold Palmer. Flippy RC, I can read this, and that does prove that this is actually a live stream. So I'll be taking your questions here in the chat. Welcome to the chat if you're new here. This is what we do. Up here in the upper right, these beautiful people are my patrons. Thank you. Thank you guys for becoming my patrons. For as little as $2 a month, you can become one of these beautiful, wonderful people and hang out in the Discord. People who don't do photo video don't understand the struggle. Man, Cyclimbo, you're not wrong, dude. I thought I started in a good place, and then I realized how much I didn't know, and that just keeps happening. Tyler Harris, what kind of tea do you use for your Arnold Palmer? I use Mio tea squirts most of the time. I put some tea squirt in, I put some lemonade squirt in, and it's beautiful. What was Drew's wink about when he was discussing DJI? I don't know, Jay Larson. I really don't. It's Blenty's in the chat. It's Blenty. Yeah, thank you so much, patrons. You get access to the Discord channel as a patron, and that means you do get to hang out here in the live stream. Yesterday, I played Among Us with my patrons on the Discord. That was a lot of fun, and that's about it. You also get to hang out with the other patrons who are amazing. Yeah, they're amazing. The Discord is great. People say that the people on the Discord are worth becoming a patron for. And I'm like, hey, what about me? But I'm like, no, that's cool. That's good to know. Thank you, ADayAtThe Range, for a $5 super chat. If you want to make sure, see all these messages going by that I haven't gotten to? That's because I'm too good for you. Let's just be straight about it. I don't care about the little people. But if you want to make sure I notice you, I don't mean that. If you want to make sure I notice your message, hit the $ right down here. Throw a super chat at me, and I will definitely make sure I get to you. I do care about the little people. There are no little people. There's just people. And I will... T-Squirt, Carbon Cage FPV. What is a T-Squirt? So first of all, do you know what Mio, sponsor my streams. Mio, I would so love for you to sponsor. This is a Mio squirt. It's a flavor squirt that you squirt in your water. It's a sweetened, flavored concentrate that you just squirt in your water. And there's a sweet tea version of it. And I know what you're like, well, how hard is it to make sweet tea? Not hard, but you know, you just go like squirt, squirt in your drink, and then you're good. So this is tea squirt. And yeah, they say 24 servings, but that's 24 8 fluid ounce servings. It's not 24 servings by my measurement. Thanos says this is like the best part of my Monday. I mean, on some level, I kind of feel like you should aim higher, but I'm glad you enjoy the live streams. Glur FPV wants to know, if one shot is good, is multi-shot better? Yes, but D-shot's what you should be doing. Mio, definitely Mio needs to sponsor my streams. Okay, I would so be down for a Mio sponsorship. I plug Mios all the time. It's obviously a product that I use, and it is not an FPV related product, so no one could accuse me of being biased for taking a Mio sponsorship. Synthetic in the Discord wants to know, oh, whoops, not synthetic. It is synthetic. Is it synthetic? You're freaking quoting somebody. Bannister post, synthetic, Stan in the Discord. There we go. Just bought a Crossfire Micro V2 kit. Is the Immortal T or the normal antenna better to use? Stan, I think the normal antenna... Wait. You mean from the quad? I would use the Immortal T. I've gone back and forth on this. The normal antenna, the whisker antenna, can be more durable depending on how you mount it, because the floppy antenna can sort of take a hit without being damaged, assuming you keep it out of the props. But I've since kind of drifted over to the Immortal T, because there are ways to mount the Immortal T with like with a 3D printed mount, like off the back of the quad. I don't have one handy, so I'll just have to take my word for it. There's ways to do it with a 3D printed mount off the back of the quad that I've found to be pretty good. So I've gone with the Immortal T. Either of them can be good. I think they both have decent reception. Alessandro Ratti wants to know, does the Ghost long range affect Wi-Fi or get affected by Wi-Fi? Alessandro, that would be a very interesting test to run. To put Ghost right next to a high-powered Wi-Fi emitter. I can say that that is obviously a question that people have been asking from the beginning, because both Wi-Fi and Ghost use 2.4 gigahertz. And the long-range, low-raw, chirped spread spectrum technology that Ghost is based on is specifically designed to avoid interference with Wi-Fi. Now, how that plays out in real life, we don't know. Mighty FPV wants to know, when it comes to Rotor Riot, how many sponsored pilots do they have? I mean, they're cast members. I don't know. It's always really amorphous, you know, because like right now, they're doing a lot of episodes down in Florida with a rodeo and Bubby FPV. Are those guys sponsored? Are they cast members? I don't know. They're showing up on episodes. So what's the actual number? Meanwhile, I haven't been in an episode in months. I still consider myself a cast member. Still consider those guys bros. But, yeah. I don't know the number. What's your opinion on Flight 1? Asks Mason Storm. It's interesting, Mason. I was reading a thread this morning about KISS. And I don't want this comment to come off like I'm dogging on KISS, okay? Because I'm really not. I'm not trying to throw stones. But somebody asked me, how do you remap motors with KISS? And how do you rearrange the channel order with KISS? TAER, you know, his channels are not in the right order. And the answer is, you can't remap the motors, and you can't rearrange the channel order. You have to have your channels in the order KISS expects. And KISS's argument would be, we keep things simple. Motor remapping is complicated and confusing, and channel reordering is complicated. We keep things simple. But is that really simple? Because you still have to know TAER, or whatever the right channel order is. You still have to get the motors in the right order. And when you don't do that, you are lacking a tool to solve that problem. And I thought to myself, and this is where it's going to sound like I'm starting shit, and I don't mean to do that, but some people will take it that way, in which case, shut up. You know, like the way that Flight 1 does it is actually simple, because Flight 1 has a wizard. Flight 1, I don't care what channel mapping are you using. I don't give a crap. Just move your sticks and I'll figure it out for you. Motor order? Nah, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. KISS is right that the way Betaflight does it is stupid and complicated. But at least Betaflight lets you do it if you want to. KISS is, in a way, it's like, we're not going to actually solve the problem for you like Flight 1 does. Flight 1, if your motors are in the wrong order, it'll just figure it out and remap it for you. So KISS is kind of in this weird place where they don't solve the problem for you, and they don't give you the tools to solve the problem. I mean, obviously, you can just reorder your channels in your controller. You could just rearrange the signal wires, go into your ESC. So I was thinking this morning, and this is the heretical thought that I will now should keep to myself, but instead I'm just going to say it because that's how I am. I was like, Flight 1 is actually simpler than KISS. KISS takes away configuration options with the goal of making configuration simple, but actually, if you don't already know how to build a KISS quad, it's confusing and complicated, and you got to look up where do all the things go. And then once you know, oh, it's simple. But Betaflight is also simple once you know where everything goes. Flight 1 is actually simple because they just have freaking wizards for everything, except when the wizards don't work, and then you're screwed. So, alrighty. Well, there you go. JB hates KISS, loves Flight 1. Nothing is perfect. I did have that thought this morning. Do you think laws are going to become more lenient or strict over the next few years? Asks Blind FPV. Strict, no question. Just no question. They're going to get more strict. There's no doubt. Is the Rotor Riot HD1 XR just a CL1 with 7-inch arms? No, I don't think so, Colty. I mean, obviously the similarities, let's put that up. I know they've got that on their front page. Rotor Riot just released this quad, the HD1 XR. It is a 7-inch cruiser. I say it's a cruiser, but Drew did some pretty crazy acro on it. So whatever it is, first of all, it's more an HD1 than a CL1. It's got that extended frame for the air unit to fit in it. And it's a dead cat style, but I guess I can see that the arm looks kind of I would say it's an HD1 body with dead cat arms. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know for a fact that they reused the HD body. And it looks like the bolt pattern, it looks pretty much the same with dead cat arms on it. So, yeah. Very good point, Patrick Ruane. Fixed gear bikes are simpler too. Interesting argument. A fixed gear bike is simpler, but it's harder to ride. It's a much harder thing to ride. Yeah. I am Rudy in the Discord wants to know, what do you think of those rear TPU DJI antenna mounts? Do you think front mounts would be better? In general, I am not a fan of front mounts for antennas. Like the, I think I'm thinking of the Newbie Drone Vivid. The Newbie Drone Vivid, you can either do a rear mount. No, this is it. The Newbie Drone Vivid, you can do a front mount. And oh, come on. Come on, what are we doing? I'm not at all a fan of this. I think this is a terrible idea. No, I mean, you can also do a rear mount for the record, but they show it with a front mount. And like when you head on into an obstacle, this is the single most likely place to take damage. If you don't go nose in, you are very likely to have a branch or something come up into this V and hit this antenna. This seems like a terrible idea. Having an Immortal T mounted on the front, I don't think is a bad idea, because as Blind FPV points out, an Immortal T at least can flex, but this is just going to get ripped. And I cue the people who fly the Newbie Drone Vivid going, "No, that's not true. I have 1,000 hours of flight time and 5 billion crashes, and it's never broken once in my life." And the minute I put it in the air, it'll break. I guarantee it. So I would always put the antenna in the rear. Yeah, I would always put the antenna in the rear. I think it's more... Yeah. Okay, Zimergy DWT. That's a very... I'm not sure the context for that comment, but there you go. No comment here. What do you guys think? You think I should start an OnlyFans? Patrons, would you pay extra for that? Do what you gotta do. Let's see. Why does my QX7 keep saying telemetry lost, telemetry recovered with Crossfire Micro V2? Asks Jonathan Armour. Jonathan, did you do the inverter mod on the QX7? If not, that's why. Ciati FPV would pay $10 a month for a JV OnlyFans. Just more content I have to create. Thanks. I can barely keep up with my own freaking channel. Never mind Instagram, Facebook, yada, 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 yada. I need a... Yeah. Ronnie Rankung, it looks to me like the 7-inch Rotor Riot uses the same X pattern on the bottom plate bolts, just changes the arms to make Dead Cat arms and a Dead Cat, 7-inch arm. Does the Radio Master need the inverter mod? Asks Ben Thornton. No, it does not. Let's see here. ASMR. Synthetic in the Discord. Yes, Synthetic, you're figuring it out, my friend. That's the joke. That's the joke. That's the joke. Moving on. Let's get some super chats out of the way. We've gotten a whole bunch of questions from the plebs just to prove that I'm a man of the people. And we'll now go on to ignore you for the whole rest of the stream unless you leave super chats. That's not true. Dad, I do have to get the super chats out of the way, though. A Day at the Range, thank you for a $5 super chat. I got a Lux HD F7, no power from the ESC, but it does power up from USB-C. Ouch. So that usually means no 5-volt regulator. The first thing you got to do, A Day at the Range, is get your multimeter out, test the VBAT pad on the flight controller, and verify that the flight controller is getting VBAT from the ESC. If not, then there's a wiring problem. The ESC is just not feeding VBAT to the flight controller. Once you confirm that the flight controller has VBAT, but still isn't powering up, then the 5-volt regulator on the flight controller is dead, and you should probably reach out to get a PV and say, hey guys, is this a warranty thing? Because I would at least ask. Do you guys know why it's called a dead cat? Do you guys, where's the, you know why it's called a dead cat? Because this is legit, this is the reason it's called a dead cat. This guy, this is taxidermied quadcopter. He taxidermied his cat and turned it into a quadcopter. This is for real. This is not a joke. I mean, it is a joke, but it's legit. I have no idea why he thought this was a good idea, but there you go. And that was presumably the first dead cat frame, or at least it captured everyone's imagination. Oh, man. Oh. Jens Kleinschmidt, thank you for €5 in the super chat. Will you do a comparison video for long-range 4-inch quads, Flywoo, iFlight, GepRC? Yes, I will. I have the iFlight in hand. The GepRC is going to be here soon, and I will be testing them, and the video will probably come out maybe next week. Depends on when the GepRC gets here. The Flywoo obviously had to go first because that was the design that sort of set the standard, but there's always room for improvement, and I'm curious to see how the iFlight and the GepRC perform. I did have issues with the Flywoo GPS. Yes, absolutely, Jens. It would barely lock 5 satellites on the ground, and in the air it would have 6 to 8 satellites, sometimes less. I normally would expect to see easily 8 satellites on the ground and 13 or 11 at least in the air. So I do feel like the GPS on the Flywoo underperformed. I don't know why. Yeah. Lucas Fossier, thank you for €5. Huff19, thank you for $5. Going to build my first 5-inch. Been flying a Holybro 3-inch for about 2 months. I'm more of a freestyle pilot. Should I go with the Xylo JB or the CL1? What should I consider? Huff19, I feel like the parts on the Xylo JB are a little bit better quality. I especially like the Freakstyle frame. The CL1 frame is not bad, but I would lean toward the Freakstyle. The electronics in the CL1, do they still use the HDLRC flight controller? That's the thing I liked the least. Yeah, so the CL1 has the HDLRC VTX. What's the flight controller? It doesn't say. F4 plus 45 amp for V2. I think it's an HDLRC. Yeah. So the big weakness, I think, of the CL1 is the HDLRC flight controller and ESC. I'm not a huge fan, and VTX, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of HDLRC electronics. I think they're very hit or miss, just depending on who was working at the factory that day or whatever. Like, sometimes they're good, and then sometimes they're terrible. So the blaster motors will come with a replacement program, which is certainly worth considering. The other thing I would say is that the motors on the JB kit are intentionally, they're only 2206 motors. They're a little small, and they're intentionally a little bit underpowered for beginners. So those are some things to think about. I don't think either of them is a bad choice. The CL1 kit is $200. The JB kit is a little more expensive. So you can decide. Why? Siati says, why are they putting HDLRC stuff in there? Why do you think, Siati? It's cheap. They get a better deal. They get a better margin on it. I mean, I assume. Brian Wewell says HDLRC has gotten better in the last couple months. Perhaps. We'll see. Delta Whiskey wants to know, is it possible to run redundant GPS units? I don't think so, Delta Whiskey. At least Betaflight doesn't support that. Aber the Ham wants to know, where's the Steel Apex? It still has a broken ESC. I have the new FetTech ESC. I don't know. I just haven't I haven't replaced it yet. The thing is, there's always so many things that I could be doing at any time. Let's see here. Ben Thornton, thank you for a $10 super chat. I was hoping your paste bin would have the Tiny Hawk 2 freestyle dump. Ben Thornton is referring to my paste bin. My paste bin, where I have a bunch of config dumps. And I have received a bunch of submissions of new config dumps that I haven't had time to add yet. So I will be adding some more, but I haven't done it lately. If you are interested in combing through a bunch of emails and helping me to upload them, reach out to me in email. Basically, I'll give you the password to my paste bin because I don't care, and I'll forward you some emails or something. Or maybe, I don't know exactly how I'll do it. But I got a bunch of emails that I need to filter through and figure out which ones I want to add. If you are interested in helping with that, let me know. That would help it get done faster. Clinton Edmondson, thank you for £5. How would you go about a DJI indoor appropriate quad? GepRC Rocket is the one you've been looking at. I do think the GepRC Rocket is, the problem is for indoor flying, I think at most you want about a 2-inch. And like 85 millimeter, 75 millimeter. Yeah, 75 millimeter or below is best, but you just can't easily get even a Vista onto something that's small. Vista really does best down by around 2.5 inch, maybe 2 inch, but it's going to be pretty heavy. So GEP-RC Rocket Light is a direction you could go. I wouldn't say it's ideal for indoor, but with DJI, nothing is ideal for indoor, and it may get the job done. Night 31 FPV, thanks for $5. What are your thoughts on NERC's 12S build? I'm planning on building a 12S similar quad, but with a Maytech X-Class 12S with 5-volt BEC and Flycolor 12S ESC 80 amp. So NERC did like a 12S 7-inch build. It's stupid. My thoughts is that is a stupid quad. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like when you have a 1100 horsepower Camaro out on the road doing a burnout at a stoplight. That's stupid. It's awesome, but it's stupid. No one needs that much horsepower. It's just ridiculous. There's no reason to do that except that you just want to just thumb your nose at the gods of physics and say, I can make something heavy move ridiculously fast for a large sum of money. Which obviously you do. Otherwise you wouldn't be thinking of building it. But I don't want you guys to get the idea that like, oh yeah, 12S, 7-inch, that's a good thing to do. The performance is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But you can get ridiculous performance out of a 5-inch. So you just have to know why you're doing it. Jose FPV Navarro asks, can you demonstrate how to use the coordinates from a long-range quad's OSD to determine its location if lost? Well, I mean, like, essentially, let's see if I can get that in decimal, because it wouldn't look like this. How can I... Oh, that's not... Come on. Give me a better frickin'... Oh my god. Give me a better website than this. Okay, so it's 35 degrees, 9606, and 83 degrees, 9207. Oh, really? No, it's... I see. 35.9606. Thank you, Google. 83.9207. Well, convert to decimal degrees. Oh, shut up. You gonna give it to me now? Shut up. Jesus Christ. This is ridiculous. Here we go. Perfect. So your OSD is going to give you a lat long, kind of like this. 35.96, negative 83. Literally all you have to do is go into maps.google.com and paste those numbers in. Boom. And it'll just show you the exact location. That's literally all you have to do. MK, I know Google Maps understands coordinates. I just needed the OSD shows the decimal coordinates, so I wanted to get that. So I just took the city of Knoxville. Yeah. Literally, that's all you have to do. Just take the coordinates off your OSD. Someone told me that the DJI OSD leaves one of the numbers out. It doesn't show, the DJI OSD doesn't show the coordinate correctly. Yeah. The Winner 327, my JB build, uses a typical 4S or 6S. For 4S, 1300 to 1500 milliamp hour. For 6S, 1000 to 1300 milliamp hour. There are suggested batteries on the product page. Night 31 FPV, I'm 99% sure it works on mobile, man. I'm 99% sure. Like, I'm going to do it right here. I'm not going to, like, show it on screen, but I'm going to type into Google Maps right now, 35.9, comma, negative 83.9. Let's see if it figures out that that's GPS. Oh, yeah, it totally did. It totally did. Yep, it just did it right there. Yep, you totally could do it on mobile, for sure. DJI freezes the last recorded coordinate. That is correct, Avi Guha. In fact, I said in my video about the Flywheel Explorer, I said, I don't really see the point of having GPS on screen because you can't record it. And many people, including, I think, Albert Kim, released a whole video. He didn't call me out by name. Thank you, Albert, for being considerate, but I knew you were talking about me. That the DJI goggles will keep the OSD once it disconnects. They'll keep the OSD. The thing is, somebody else told me, and I haven't verified this, that the DJI goggle leaves a digit out. If the coordinate is 83.926, it will show 83.26. And yeah, I haven't verified that, but if that's true, you want to check into that. Pat Clevenger, what's the point of having recommended battery sizes? Is it weight? Yes, exactly. It's weight. That's the answer. You can use as big of a battery as you want, but it will get heavier and heavier until the quad flies like shit. A good rule of thumb is that the weight of the battery should be no more than approximately 1/3 the total weight of the quad when flown. Or another way to put it is, if you take the dry weight of the quad, the battery should not be more than half the dry weight of the quad. As a rule of thumb, you'll see that those two are the same thing, depending on which way you're going. Elias Ariel Marks asks, am I going to make a review of the Beta 95X pusher? I feel like I ought to, because Beta FPV sent it to me. Beta FPV sent me the 95X, and they sent me the Naked GoPro, and I made a super detailed video about the Naked GoPro, which sells for like $10, and I haven't done a review of the 95X. I was not super impressed with how the 95X flew. So I guess what I really should do is make a video about how to make it fly better. So that's probably what I'll do. Siati says 85X and 95X pushers are on my stream tonight. What's your thought about them, Siati? You want to give a teaser? Dauntless H wants to know, what do you do with all the stuff you get sent? I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I do. Excuse me. What I do... Oh. Where's the giveaway? September giveaway. Oh, I haven't done the October giveaway yet. What I do... This is taking way too long. The setup is taking way too long. Is I do a giveaway. Every month. Yeah. So like last month I gave away this. I gave this stuff away. A Hawk 5, a Happy Model Mobula 6HD, a charger, soldering iron, some flight controllers and ESCs, this quad, whatever this was. I think it was a TMMRC. I declined to review this one. I didn't think it was bad. Just didn't think it was amazing for the price. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. So I did a giveaway. I do a giveaway every month. This one has not been posted yet for October. So if you're interested, you can join the giveaway even if you're not a patron. Let's see. I do give it away. Yeah. Blind FPV wants to know if there's a disadvantage to the single antenna of the Vista. I mean, blind FPV there must be. You don't go from MIMO transmission to single antenna and not take a performance hit. That being said, I've been flying the Vista, and I'm convinced that the weight of the air unit is not worth it on a 5-inch. I would just go Vista. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, it's not that much more, but to get the air unit on a frame, you need a heavier frame. So going from the air unit to the Vista, I think the air unit is like 20, 25 maybe grams heavier than the Vista. If that was all it was, you might go, hi, I'm going to go with the air unit. But the air unit, Then you have a frame that is another 20 or 25 grams heavier. The difference between a quad built with an air unit and the exact same quad built on a smaller frame with a Vista, it comes out to easily 40 grams. And I've been flying the Vista, and I know objectively it must have less range or something, but I can't find it. It's fine. Thank you, Nike31FPV, for a $5 super chat. What are your thoughts on Nurk's 12-ish build? I answered, no more super chats have come. I assumed that was a new super chat. Oh, well, you guys are not leaving super chats. That's okay. Mike Bergman says, the frame has to be a lot wider for an air unit. Yep, exactly. Plus, I hate that you have to mount it with double-sided tape. I ain't mad about that. Double-sided tape on a flat surface with a zip tie, I ain't too mad about it. I bought an Apex HD frame with the intent of building an air unit build. But two things happened. Number one, let me see if I can find him. Let me see if I can find this. Is this the same guy? This is not the guy. Is it? I don't think it's the guy. Uh-oh. How am I gonna find this guy? He'll have messaged me. Once again, completely using the live stream for good purpose. I can't find this. I can't find this guy. He's in my friend. How do you get to your friends list? How do you get to your following people? Oh, here are the people I'm following. Hold on. There he is. There he is. James 4411. Okay, so can I just see his damn profile? I'm such a freaking boomer. Can I just see his profile? Oh my God, thank you. It only took 20 minutes. This is James Christensen, and he did with me. I went over to his house and I look at that guy. Oh wow, I look stunned. Pick a different freeze frame, James. Look, pick a freeze frame where I don't look like I'm about to get hit by a freaking car. He did a build of this. This is an Apex HD with an air unit. And when all was said and done, it was like 840 grams. Like, I don't remember what he told me the final weight was. And I was like, okay, well, that's enough for me. With a GoPro. I was like, well, that does it for me. That's just too freaking heavy. Not that you can't get it lighter, but the Apex is not a super light frame. You add an air unit to it. And I flew the the Titan XL5 HD at a weight of 820 grams and got a perspective there. And I got to say, the Vista's the way to go. The Vista's the way to go. Ciati, am I coming to James's Fly Day down here next month? Yep. I sure am. I will be there. That is a fact. Quan FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. Sometimes my QX7 loses link to Crossfire after a crash. Won't rearm even close up. Quad reboot fixes. Yikes. What is the LED on the receiver doing when that happens? That's the question I would ask. Xander Whitfield, my Betaflight doesn't have a turtle mode option. Can I add that somehow? Xander, you need to be using D-Shot to have turtle mode. That's my guess as to why it's not working. Jay Larson says, Naked Vista? Yeah, boy howdy. You take all the... I'm not convinced that saving... How much do you save when you go to a Naked Vista? I think you save like 8 or 10 grams. I'm not convinced that that is worth the risk of damaging the Vista. So I'm not sure I would go that direction. On a 5-inch. On a 5-inch. Obese Quads. Nice name. Thank you for $5 super chat, Obese Quads. I think my VTX is dead. It shows OSD, but the picture is random colors and squares. What do you think? I think your camera is dead. The VTX cannot make the OSD be good, but the rest of it be colors and squares. The VTX just gets the image from the camera. So the OSD is fine. That tells you your flight controller is working fine, because that's where the OSD comes from. The camera is fried, not the VTX. Get a new camera. John Larson, thanks for $5 super chat. A Day at the Range, thanks for a $5 super chat. Hey, I just did a 12-minute flight for about 7 miles. I'm using 5-inch. Would I get better from 7-inch with a 6S 5000 instead of a 4S 5000? Whoa, hold on, friend. If you go from a 4S 5000 to a 6S 5000, your battery is going to get 2/3 bigger. You want to find the equivalent watt hours. So let's just be dangerous here and do some math on stream, which is always risky. You take a 5,000 milliamp hour 4S, 5,000 times 3.7 times 4. That's a 74,000 watt hour pack. And then you divide by 6 and divide by 3.7, and you get a 3,333 milliamp hour 6S. So to get the equivalent size battery, you want about a 3,300 milliamp hour 6S. You will get way better efficiency going to a 7-inch prop. You're going to need to go down in kV, or you could use a throttle limit if you prefer. But the big thing you should do, I mean, just go to a 7-inch prop and use a throttle limit, and you may do better. But a 7-inch prop, to really get the most out of it, you're going to need a bigger motor, like a 2400, or maybe even a 26, up to maybe even a 2800 size motor. You can run 7-inch on like a 2306 or 2207, 2208, but you don't get as much efficiency. They're just a little overpropped on that size motor. Night 31, that's the third time I've tried to read your chat. Night 31. Ron Grant, thanks for $5. My 8-year-old daughter watches your live stream. She wanted to say hi to JB. Hey, Ron, and hello to your daughter. Your daughter. That's why I try not to swear too much on the stream, because parents watch the stream with their kids, and unlike my child who swears like a sailor, not everybody's parent, feels that way. The other day, my wife and my kid were going out to get lunch or something, and I said, "Bye-bye, I love you," and he said, "F you." Just kidding. So there you go. That's my kid. Oh. Thank you, Marley Leppo, for 20 Norwegian kroner. What's up, Marley? What's up? I know exactly where he learns this stuff. Nathan T, you should see some of the outtakes from my video. This week, I will have coming up. It's already recorded and scheduled. Later this week, TBS Crossfire Multibind. And there is some swearing in that video. It's not in the video. There is some swearing in that video. I want to show you guys this. I'm very proud of this. This is the thumbnail for that video. TBS Multibind. In case you don't know, TBS Multibind lets you bind 2 Crossfire modules to the same receiver. So you can switch between the controllers and not have to rebind your quad. So 2 modules, 1 receiver. So here's the thumbnail. Parents, don't explain this to your children. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself for this. Oh, that's going up. That's for real. so proud of. I worked on that. You have no idea how long I worked on that. It's actually still set up. It's still set up on the table behind me where I took the picture. Alrighty. If you get it, you get it. And if you don't get it, ask your parents. Don't, people are like, what about that Trappy comment? Hang on, you guys. I was gonna, see, it's completely friendly. There's nothing to see. Nothing to see there. Rizzo Fox, do you know where to get the tension nuts that keep the camera lens from coming out of focus? Rizzo, I have no idea. Bet you could 3D print one if you have access to a 3D printer, or just buy a spare lens and take the M12 nut off it. That's all you got to do. I mean, it's stupid to pay that much, but what else can you do? Nitro Music, thank you for $5 Canadian. What's the best Cinewhoop package under 250 grams? Cinewhoop under 250 grams. Oof. Beta FPV 95X? I don't think so. Cinestat Go? What's a Cinestat Go? I don't know that one. What's the best? First of all, the first question I have is, and chat, you can help me with this. You mean the aerial Vation? Okay, the Cinestar. So I'm really torn about this, guys. This is the Stop. Don't do this. Web designers, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Stop with this BS. Stop popping things up. I came to your website. Look, I'm on your website. Oh, I'm so excited. I want to see your stuff. Boom, pop up. Subscribe to my list. I was about to interact with your website. Don't do that. Okay. This is the Cinestar, and this is a $800 to $1,300 kit, depending on what comes with it. And the first thing that I thought when I saw this was, why in the God's green earth would anybody, I don't care how many braided frickin' wire looms you put on there, why would anybody pay $800 for a frickin' Beta FPV 95X? And they actually reached out to me and asked if I wanted to review their product. And I thought, I just don't know how I could review this with a straight face, because when you review a product, on some level, you're going to say, and this is why this product is definitely worth $800. Like, oh my God, for who? How could I even justify that claim? And then Drone Camps RC reviewed it. And Drone Camps RC, by the way, this is a Beta FPV 95X frame. The internals are not Beta FPV 95X. They've rebuilt the whole internals. This is a special Naked Hero 8 that they've got custom parts for. So, I mean, I see how, and they're aiming it at pros. And anytime you aim a product at pros, the price triples. You know? A hobbyist would never pay for this because they don't need it. But I saw Drone Camps RC's review. Here, ready to fly kit, $100 off. Oh, how much does that leave it at? I saw Drone Camps RC. Oh, Jesus! $1,300. Want to add here, digital crossfire. Camera, GoPro, LCD screen. Sure, I'll pay $100 for the front LCD screen. DJI goggles. Oh, let's assume I already have my DJI goggles. Let's assume I already have a radio. Lens filters. Sure. Battery kit. Sure. Backpack. Nah, let's gotta bring my own backpack. Hard case. Oh, yeah, let's get the hard case. What are we up to? $1,800. That's correct, Blind FPV. It's a decased Hero 8. It's their own special decasing with their own heatsink and stuff. I mean, I was like, there's no way I can review this with a straight face, because I looked at Drone Cam's RC's review of this product, and people were really hard on him. And I'm not afraid of people being hard on me. But they said, you're going to review this high-end cinematic yada, 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 but the footage you put up, and this was in his comments, they said the footage you put up is all kind of shaky and looks like crap. So you're not showing the product at its best. And his response was, I wanted to show the base footage that you get out of it. I didn't want to show you the cleaned up, beautiful, wonderful stuff and trick you into seeing what's going on. But people, I thought, can I deliver? Am I enough of like a cinematic expert? Because as a hobbyist, I already know what I would say about this product. As a hobbyist, I look at the price and I go, are you kidding me? Or what kind of a moron do you take me for? $1,800 for a Beta FPV 95X and some other stuff. And I mean, you give this to somebody like Paul Nurkala or Tommy Tibahia. Tommy has his own quad. And you say, is this worth that price? And the answer may be yes, if you're a pro. But I'm not a pro, and most of my audience isn't. And whoops, FitzFlights, I accidentally hid your comment. I didn't mean to. I meant to show it. Now that it's hidden, I don't think I can bring it back. Nope, I can't. FitzFlight says, as a cinema nerd, I might look at this and think, oh, they did all the shit for me. That's exactly right, FitzFlights. That's the thing that I can't decide if, because their argument is, if you are a pro cinematographer, if you shoot commercials for a living, you don't want to spend all your valuable time dicking around with this BS. You just want to get out there and make that money. And this, we did all the BS for you. You can just go out and do your work for your customer. I don't know. I don't really feel like I'm in a position to make that argument convincingly. So, is that the best? Maybe. I don't know any way I could recommend spending $1,800 or $1,300 or $800 or whatever the hell it is. I just can't see recommending that to a typical hobbyist. So what's the best Cinewhoop under 250 grams? That's the question that we have been not answering for the last 15 minutes. I mean, I think by the time you get to a typical Cinewhoop like a Shendrone Squirt, you're probably over 250 grams, aren't you? Can you get an actual, like, nice ducted Cinewhoop under 250 grams? That's the big question. Aber the Ham says, a hobbyist would just build their own. You're paying for assembly and tuning. How much is that worth? I mean, I do feel like there's a lot of room to improve on the Beta FPV 95X. This is flight characteristics. And I do feel like the Beta FPV Naked GoPro, there's a lot of room to improve on those electronics. Hard to argue that a hobbyist should pay hundreds of dollars for that. A pro, yeah, I got to tell you, like, when you get to a point where you're earning money, your priorities shift. Instead of saving every penny, you're like, if I just spend this money and you give me the solution, then I can get on with doing my actual job and stop screwing around with this BS. And you just find yourself writing checks for amounts of money that you think would never have considered reasonable before. But yeah. Yeah, it's Emax Ecos. That's exactly right, Blunty. It's Emax Ecos. You're 100%. Blind FPV, the $900 steel build definitely comes with Steel's tune on it. For sure. Let's see. Titan DC3. That's not a Cinewhoop, is it? The iFlight Titan DC3 is a decent quad. It's not a Cinewhoop. I feel like by the time you're at 3 inches, unless you're talking about a 3-inch toothpick, you're getting very close to 250 grams. Taycan C25. We're still trying to answer this super chat. What's the best Cinewhoop under 250 grams? In case you're wondering. I got it. Pyrodrones. Pyrodrone, your web optimization is on point. Whoever does Pyrodrone's SEO is fantastic. Every time I do a search for a product, Pyrodrone is on top. See, look, Pyrodrone, race day quads. Diatone, get FPV. Wow, get FPV. Oof. Below the fold, get FPV. Ouch. All right, Pyrodrone, you get to be on stream. Diatone Taycan C25, 2.5-inch Cinewhoop with Caddx Vista. Pusher. Diatone generally makes good stuff. I don't know if like I would just go, yes, that's the best, but Diatone generally has pretty good stuff. If it comes in under 250 grams, I feel like that's an okay. 177 grams without the battery. That feels like that could easily get over 250 grams. Yeah. Just run a, yeah. Gepar C Cinepro can be under 250. BeepTube says, if I Google race day quads, the first result is get FPV. Is that true? I don't know if that's not true for me. Let's try it in an incognito window. Nah, that's just because you go to get FPV. Get FPV is nowhere near here in an actual incognito window. We're talking analog. Yeah, so analog will save you a little weight. I think that, I mean, we got to wrap this up. We can't spend the whole live stream on this question. I think that probably you're going to struggle to get a 3-inch Cinewhoop with ducts or prop guards under 250 grams. I think that if you're looking at 3-inch, you're going to be thinking more about like a toothpick style quad, maybe with ducts. And I think that you should be going down to 2.5-inch or something like that. That's what I would say. iFlake Green Hornet. All right, that's where we're going to go. Or you're going to go down to the 95 millimeter size. The Beta FPV is not terrible, but it's not the best. The iFlake Alpha 85? I think Blunty said that was kind of good. All right, there we go. That's it. We're moving on. Thank you for the question. It was a very inspired question. Ciotti is losing his mind trying to figure out sub 250 Cinewhoops. There you go. See, it's tough. It's been like 20 minutes on that question, but I thought it was a good question. Should I accept the review of the freaking $800? I just don't know if I could review it with. If I think it's good, I won't feel confident that I'm right. And if I think it's bad, I'll be worried that it's just because I'm a hobbyist and not a pro. And all the reasons I think it's bad are a pro would be like, no, you're missing the point. Like if you were to it reminds me of Linus Tech Tips review or video about the Red digital camera. And he complained that the Red digital camera doesn't come with an audio input and it doesn't come with a screen, like a flip out screen. And he had all these complaints about it. And Corridor Digital made a response video where they were like, yeah, that's because it's a pro grade cinema camera, not your frickin' DSLR, you dumbass, which is not, they were much more polite than that. But they were like, of course it doesn't come with a frickin' flip out screen. What do you think this is? And I worried that that's what the review would be like if I tried to review this $1,300. Anyway, I just get on with my life. Review it against the Beta FPV 95X V2. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Mavic Mini. How about that? Mavic Mini is sub 250. Let's move on. Let's move on. Paul, where's the frickin'... How are we doing here? Paul 77. Thank you for a $10 super chat. Thank you for doing what you do. You're literally the only reason my boys and I have been able to pick up the hobby during the pandemic. Thank you so much, Paul. That means a lot. Not G10, thanks for 20 Canadian dollars. I'm new to the hobby, and I wonder if it makes sense grabbing a Tyrannus X9 Lite S and Skyzone O2X with Mobula 6 and Tiny Hawk 2 and your kit in the future. Know any Canadian stores? Frickin', what's that store in Canada? Dang. David Klein is the owner. What's David Klein's store in Canada? Somebody chime in. What's the frickin' name of this store? Airblade UAV, says Mike Bergman. What's frickin' David Klein's store? Why do I remember David Klein's name and not his frickin' store name? Oh, David Klein is the developer of the Jelly Belly brand of jelly beans. That's not who I'm talking about. Rotor Geeks. Is it Rotor Geeks? Yes, that's it. It's rotorgeeks.com. That's it. Thank you. Bingo. That's Rotor Geeks. Rotor Geeks is one Canadian store you could look at. Other people are saying Airblade UAV is in Canada. I would steer you away from the Tyrannus. Free Sky, their receiver and firmware ecosystem is kind of confusing and annoying, especially to beginners. The X9 Lite is a good radio. If you decide to just go whole hog into the Free Sky ecosystem, you definitely want to get an Access radio and get their new Archer line of receivers. They have the new firmware with the over-the-air firmware updates, and hopefully they will solve all these weird problems, but still too soon to tell. I would steer you toward a TBS Tango as a great gamepad-style radio, or the Jumper T18 or the Radio Master TX16S. As those are the directions I would steer you towards a radio. Sky Zone is a good set of goggles. Nitro Music, thank you for $5 Canadian. What's the best Cinewood package under 250 gram? We got that one. Nikolay Rogak, thank you for a $10 super chat. Going back to beta FPV. What do you think of the 85X pusher style? Have you tried it? What can be done so it would fly better? The single best thing you can do, and I think Ciati will chime in here as well. I hope he will. He'll talk some more on his stream. You should definitely watch his stream if you've got the beta FPV 85X or 95X pusher. He says he's going to be talking about it on his stream. He'll come on at 10 o'clock after me. I think that the single biggest thing you can do to improve the beta FPV 95X is the props. The stock props that come on it are... It's like they put Cinewhoop props on it, but it doesn't have ducts, so why? The stock props are not amazing, so I would probably improve the props. If you're getting 90 seconds of flight, it's either way too heavy or it's your batteries are crap. KBNYC in the Discord says, I've recently got the Diatone Roma F5. I've installed the Crossfire, everything works, but the quad doesn't want to arm. Yeah, KBNYC, anytime the quad doesn't want to arm, you need to get the arming status code. You can get that out of the OSD. Just look in your goggles. When you try to arm, a message will flash in the goggles, like throttle. And that message, I have a whole playlist for almost all the reasons why Betaflight won't arm, and you find the status flag, and then you go watch this video, and it'll tell you what to do next. Mozer wants to know, is the Sedora SL5 worth the money over the SL5E? Mozer, I find it hard to say yes to that question. Objectively, the SL5 has better motors, and it has an upgraded flight controller, and it used to have an upgraded VTX, but they upgraded the VTX on the SL5E, so that's not true anymore. The problem is that the SL5E or the Nazgul is almost the same as the SL5E, Nazgul V2 that is. It packs so much value that it's hard to recommend the next one up, even though the next one up, the SL5 is absolutely a $300 quad. The problem is that the SL5E is like a $250 quad that they're selling for $200. I shouldn't say that because they'll raise the price or they'll make it worse. P4SH4 wants to know, what's your everyday radio? Lately, it is the Radio Master TX16X. Let's see here. Steve is in the chat. Steve Maslick. I haven't seen you around lately, Steve. It's nice to see you, man. Let's see here. Where are we at? Russ, thank you for a $5 super chat. Given that regulations are a huge threat to the FPV community, how should we secure the existence of our hobby and a future for FPV children? Russ, I don't know what the freaking answer to that is. People are trying to fight to secure that future. The problem is that you as an individual, I think realistically the chances of you making a difference are low. I feel like we are at the point where there was a comment period and we left comments and had protests. We needed to do that, even though it was always likely that it would not have an effect. We still needed to do it. The next stage in the fight would have been to call and write letters to representatives and congresspeople. And right about the time that that stage of the fight would have begun, the coronavirus pandemic started. And basically no one cared about remote ID anymore because everybody was too busy dealing with that stuff. Even if you personally as an individual cared, the congresspeople, they had their hands full. So, like, the idea that they were going to pick up the phone and say, tell me more about remote ID, it just wasn't a thing. So that window has mostly passed. The FAA has written or is in the process of writing their proposed rules. They are planned to be announced before the end of this year to go into, to be finalized, and then within about 2 to 3 years, I think at least 2 years, that's when they'll phase in and actually be enforced. So, what can you do today? Race Day Quads announced a GoFundMe to sue the FAA. People wondered what happened. They did raise a little money. Race Day Quads is still going ahead with that. I am going to be interviewing, I'm going to be interviewing Tyler Brennan and his legal team soon. I don't want to say too much more about that because I want to give them the chance to say it exactly how they want to say it, as opposed to me just blabbing. If anybody was wondering if this just died or disappeared, I can tell you for sure it did not. Despite the fact that the GoFundMe didn't raise as much money as he had hoped, it is going forward, pardon me. Excuse me. And that's where we're at. We're at the point where if we're going to win, we have to fight it in court. So I guess donate money to that GoFundMe, or shop at Race Day Quads. Correct, Joshua. Joshua says they will post the legislation in the Federal Register. You get 90 days to post your concerns before the law is enacted. And what I hear from people who know these things is that the legislation has made its way towards the Federal Register. So that's going to happen. And that's why the lawsuit needs to move, because it needs that you can't actually sue them until the regulation is proposed. You can't, I mean, maybe you could get some kind of presumptive judgment, or I don't know what it would be called. But in general, you get to say, well, they might do this, and they'll just go, well, you don't know that. So the lawsuit has to be filed after we know what the legislation actually contains. And once the legislation hits the Federal Register, then we know, and then the lawsuit can proceed. The reality is that a whole lot of people will just continue flying exactly as they have been. And unless they do something dumb to draw attention to themselves, they probably won't notice. Like, I guarantee you that Bot Grinder is just going to keep flying. Don't mean to pick on Bot Grinder. I don't think he would mind. I guarantee you he's just going to keep flying. Nothing's going to come of it. Probably. Life will go on. So the big question that I have is if, when this regulation goes into effect, will we still be able to buy FPV parts? And what effect will this have on stores in the United States, like Pyrodrone, Race Day Quads, Get FPV, Ready Made RC, etc., etc., etc.? If those stores primarily sell parts for SUAS, for remote controlled aircraft, they can't be legal, because it will no longer be legal for you to build your own SUAS over 250 grams. It will only be legal to sell an SUAS in the United States over 250 grams if the FAA has stamped it as approved and compliant. So, how will that play out? Will every quadcopter part come with a sticker on it that says for ground use only, not for aerial use? And we'll all go, yep, definitely not gonna fly this. Will they come with a sticker that says for use on quads under 250 grams only? Oh yeah, these 2208 motors are definitely going on a quad under 250 grams, as far as you know. Or Jason Kennedy, you're correct. Jason, you're absolutely right. I should clarify. You can build your own and fly it over 250 grams if you stick to a fixed flying site, an FRIA, a FRIA. I forget what that stands for. The problem is that FRIAs have to be approved by, basically FRIAs are going to be AMA fields. Lots of AMA fields don't let you fly multi-rotors there anyway. And FRIAs, there's a 1-year window for FRIAs to be approved, and then after that window closes, no more FRIAs can ever be approved ever again, and FRIAs are explicitly designed to expire. So this idea that there's an exception that lets you build your own and fly them at the FRIAs, I don't even acknowledge that as existing. The whole reason they put that in there is so you will go, no, it's okay, you could still fly at FRIAs. Number one, that's not where I want to fly. And number two, FRIAs are explicitly designed to go away. They're taking that pill and they're covering it in honey, and they're hoping you swallow it. But the honey will dissolve, and the only thing left will be the pill. So I don't even mention the FRIAs, because the whole point of the FRIAs is to fool normal people into thinking this regulation is more reasonable than it really is. So here's the question. Will you still be able to buy parts from American stores? Or will Race Day Quads, Get FPV, Pyrodrone, Ready Made RC, Catalyst Machine Works, all these other stores, will they just go out of business? And if they go out of business, will you still be able to get parts at all? Now, this is the part that I'm not sure how realistic it is that those stores go out of business, but actually, I don't think it's as unlikely as I would like it to be. It's possible that the FAA would block all incoming drone parts at customs. They would not be able to come in. That seems unlikely. It seems unlikely that they'd get them all. It seems unlikely that they'd even try. So I think that you will still be able to fly. Not legally, but you'll still be able to fly, and many people will. I think it would be a real shame if it ends up with these... It basically takes this huge American industry, well, not huge in the sense, not huge in like, Apple is huge, but, and just sort of kills it and forces all of us to go shop from foreign companies. That would be terrible. So... what would happen to local hobby shops? So under these rules, you can still sell SUAS, but they have to be an approved kit. So let's take Catalyst Machine Works. Let's assume that Catalyst Machine Works has the money to go through this regulatory process and to keep up with the bookkeeping requirements, whatever that would be. I mean, it's in the 7 figures estimated according to the FAA's own documents. But let's say Catalyst Machine Works says this is the 5-inch Bang God DJI Edition. Catalyst Machine Works submits paperwork to the FAA describing this quad and talking about all the ways we're going to use a compliant flight controller that with remote ID. Can't be open source software. How could you have open source software be compliant with this regulation if you can just change it? So now you can't flash the flight controller anymore. It has to be some lockdown flight controller that reports this information, etc., etc. Catalyst Machine Works gets approval to sell this quad, and now they can sell that exact quad. You can't change any parts, you can't change anything out, but now they can sell this quad. So that is the form that the FAA envisions that this will go forward, that people will sell these predefined kits. License to Drive says they still haven't won the war on drugs. They'll never win a war against drones. I mean, that may be true, but people want drugs a whole lot more than they want drones, and drugs are a whole lot easier to smuggle. I don't know. Maybe that's not true. I don't know. We'll see. Alrighty. Moving on. Duck My Squee, thanks for 5 New Zealand dollars. Quad Motors ESCs will be RC car parts. FCs will be single board serial sensor bonded computers. Yeah, exactly. Maybe so. Rory Cataract, thanks for $5. Can you shut off the SCL side of a UART TX? My UART TX3 is set to connect a magnetometer. I want to use it for smart audio for my VTX. Rory, try going into the resource assignments and do resource SCL none. Whatever. Try doing that. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Thanks for $5. DJI controller couldn't connect to quad after being fine for weeks. Firmware update disappeared. Reflashed and it's been fine. Ideas? I mean, you reflashed it and it's fine. Just cross your fingers it doesn't happen again and get on with your life. I have no idea. Zach Cakesley, thank you for a $5 super chat. I have a blast hanging out with the Livestream chat Discord people. Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Discord. Rob Mokri, thanks for a $15 super chat. DJI goggle power upgrade, unable to change from 25 milliwatts. Guess what, my friend? You are in the EU, aren't you, Rob? If you activated the goggles from an EU location, it's going to lock you at 25 milliwatts. You cannot do the 1200 milliwatt mod. What you would need to do, and it would be illegal for you to do this, but you can do the FCC mod to your goggles, and that will unlock it. Now, if you live in the EU, that's not legal for you to do, but you wouldn't be the first one to do it. That's all I'm saying. Okay. A Day at the Range points out you can reset the goggles and then VPN to the US and activate them. That does work. A Day at the Range. You can also there's a text file you can put on the SD card that converts them to FCC region. Woo! Worked up. The war on drugs was lost a long time ago, says Great J. I mean, when you consider that the CIA was literally importing drugs into the United States at the same time that the DEA was supposedly fighting drugs, kind of, I mean, I try not to get political, but the war on drugs is a terrible example for anything. Like, it's not even, at least the FAA sincerely wants to get rid of drones. The government couldn't even agree on whether they wanted to get rid of drugs. Oh, gee, people are getting up on A Day at the Range. A Day at the Range, man. I hope you can take it, man. I hope you can take it. By the way, I'm not making that up about the CIA. That's just a fact. That's documented. CIA isn't really a law enforcement organization, is it? calling him a vaporware merchant. Somebody calling A Day at the Range a vaporware merchant. People hate it, man. People hate it. They hate us because they ain't us. I mean, prohibition does work. People saying prohibition doesn't work because alcohol prohibition failed. Prohibition does work. What I mean by that is it's not 100%, but it does make things harder to get. Hey, people in Colorado, do you find it easier or harder to get marijuana now? It's easier. You just go to a dispensary and get all the pot you want, I assume. People in prohibition states, is it harder or easier for you to get pot? Prohibition works. The fact that there is always a black market or a gray market doesn't change the fact that it's harder than when things are legal. That's a fact. Marijuana. That's how I say it. Y'all smoking that marijuana over there? Can't have no marijuana. Let me tell you what, that stuff kills your brain cells. Kills your brain cells, and you think you're being creative, but you're just being dumb. I don't know what character that was. Aaron Newman, thank you for a $10 super chat. Your content is a gateway drug for my FPV addiction. Your video content has helped me tremendously. Thanks for striving for educational excellence. Thank you so much, my friend. Calabrese 221 says, I'm having a problem with my QX7S. I upgraded the latest firmware, including the SD card. Now when I bind my Crossfire builds, they bind, but the QX7 keeps beeping like crazy. I am running a Micro TX. I have no freaking idea there, my friend. Why does it beep? Why does it beep? The QX7 beeps? Did you install the FreeSky firmware, or did you install the OpenTX firmware? That's a question. If you install the FreeSky firmware, there could be some weirdness with Crossfire. Install the OpenTX. Exactly, Dan the Q-Man. Exactly right. Most people prefer to follow the law. Right? If something is illegal and carries the threat of jail. See, the problem is that, like, if the FAA outlaws FPV, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go, well, am I just going to stop flying? And I probably am not. I'm probably going to... If you're from the FAA, everything I'm about to say is hypothetical. I'm probably just going to keep flying at least until I get hit with that first big fine. I'm just going to keep $15,000 in the bank and cross my fingers. I'll be like, well, you know, let's just see how it goes. And many people will do that, but lots of people will be like, oh, wait, that's it. Think about all the noobs getting into FPV now. A lot of those noobs will be like, wait, isn't this illegal? Oh, I'm not going to do it. That's the problem. Drib! Drib wants to play Among Us again. We played Among Us Sunday, Drib. Drib's in the chat. I have to tell you, Dribs, someone said, I've been shopping at Rotor Riot more since I played Among Us with Drib. I'm not saying that should be your whole marketing strategy, but I'm saying, I don't know if it humanized you or what. I cannot play Among Us tonight, my friend. I'd have to put my kid to bed. If you want to jump over in the Discord and play, you're more than welcome. I know people will be over there. I have over in my Discord where's that? Oh, there we go. There we go. I have a whole bunch of Among Us channels for when we played Among Us. So we definitely you could get a game going for sure. Do I have any concerns about the airspace over my property? What do you mean, AD? I don't know what that means exactly. The Among Us chat got removed. It didn't get... Oh, I removed... No, I made a whole separate... Yeah, I made a whole separate category there, dude. You're good. Yep. I don't think I need 5 game channels, though. There were not 50 people playing at any given time. Let's leave 3. And we'll get rid of the user limit on the channel as well. There we go. You guys can jump over there and play tonight if you want to. While you're watching Ciati's stream, right? That's... Yeah. Andy RC's Googling what Among Us is. Yeah. Do I get authorized before flying? Asks AD. AD, I am not in any... I'm in Class G airspace. I don't need any special authorization to fly at my house. Thankfully, because I am like very close to Class D. Is there a web version of AirMap? I think there is. Let's see. Hang on a second. Allow. Go to my house. Oh, look at you. Yeah, so like this is the airspace near my house. And you can see like I'm fortunately not in any regulated airspace at all. Thank goodness. So I don't need any special permissions. I can fly whenever I like. AMA field, huh? Where's that? Oh, KCRC. That's right near me. Yeah, that's right over here. So, special use airspace. Yeah. So. Prohibition doesn't work. Education plus regulation, says Great J. Thank you for a $5 super chat, Jay. Are the Popo motors practical, says Anana Reese. The thing about Popo motors is that they depend heavily on the quality of your prop. And that's kind of an iffy proposition. If you get a bad batch of props, then the props will be coming off in flight or ripping out the hub. And the thing is, Lumineer makes the Popo shafts so precise. And Lumineer and HQ both consistently make very good Popo props. Lumineer, obviously, because it's their product. Popo props made by other manufacturers, in my experience, have been inconsistent in quality. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. And the thing is, if you go, hey, I'm going to try out this GemFan prop today, and then it doesn't work with your Popos because they were at the end of their mold was like old or worn out, that sucks. And it used to be that Popos also had threads for a nut, but now that's not true anymore. So I think the biggest disadvantage of Popos is that you got to know that you're going to use probably, I would say, either Lumineer or HQ props. And those are good. The others can be iffy. I mean, it's nice to be able to swap props so easily. Thank you, Jakester, for $5 super chat towards that eventual $15,000 fine. What type of RC am I using nowadays? Mostly Crossfire, Mavic, Havoc. I'm trying Ghost too, but Crossfire is obviously that's like still the bread and butter. Ghost is too new for me to just go, yeah, screw it, I'm jumping ship. It's just too new. I mean, it's good, but there's some kinks to get figured out still. We'll get there. I mean, I really lucked out. I didn't fly when I moved here. So I really lucked out on that airspace thing. Ladrib dropped in to try to get me to play Among Us, and now he's doing some tech support, some customer support. Hey, what are you going to do? Got to support those customers. Drib defending the HDLRC. We talked earlier in the live stream about the CL1 build, and I said that the weakness for me of the CL1 build is the HDLRC electronics. Of course, the upside is that if you buy weak electronics from a stand-up company, they stand behind it. So the good news is that if you're going to buy HDLRC electronics, at least if you buy it from Rotor Riot and it turns out to be bad, they will replace it for you. Well, the listing still shows HDLRC. I looked it up. I mean, I did look it up. I often talk out my ass, don't get me wrong, but I did look it up. It still shows, the picture still shows the HDLRC electronics. No, well, you should definitely. He says, we did HDLRC while Hobbywing was out of stock. You got to update the picture then. I mean, the listing does say F4 stack. It should say Hobbywing, right? And you got to update that picture. Yeah. I mean, Hobbywing is 1,000 times better than HDLRC, so that makes a big, you definitely got to, that makes a big difference. Yeah. That's good to know. So then, which is better, my budget build or the CL1 budget kit? Moving on. That's good to know. Hobbywing or T-Motor, those are both great electronics. Chubbs of Grubs wants to know, how can the FAA regulate quads above 250 grams, but an ultralight is unregulated under 255 pounds? Chubbs of Grubs, I'm going to give you the straight answer, because what you want, what I've heard this argument before, people may not realize this. An ultralight aircraft, as long as it's under 255 pounds, is not regulated. You could just buy an ultralight for $10,000 and go fly it right now with zero regulations, zero licensing. And people are like, well, I have to register my drone, but I can fly an ultralight. Here's the difference. Get ready for it. When you crash an ultralight, you kill yourself. This is a self-limiting problem, and the FAA knows it. The FAA says, if you would like to put yourself in an aircraft and fly up to 1,000 feet and kill yourself, more power to you. But the ability to take a remote-controlled aircraft and go wherever with it without putting yourself in any danger or accountability, that is the thing they actually are freaking out about. That's why they're freaking out at the end of the day. It is because an RC aircraft lets you observe or interact at a great distance with very limited ability to trace that back to the actor. And that scares the shit out of people who feel like it's their job to keep us safe. And what's interesting is they're not wrong. They're not wrong about the threat. They're just wrong in their reaction to the threat. They're overreaching in their reaction to the threat. But what makes it so strange is that they're not wrong about the threat. If they were wrong about the threat, then it'd be easier to argue and fight. How many people have been seriously injured or killed by consumer drones? Asks Adam Victor. Very few. But here's the thing. They want to get this horse before it gets out of the barn. If the government could make it so like there were no guns in private citizens' hands, and in order to get a gun, you had to like put a GPS tracker on it so that every time you fired the gun, it reported its location to a government database in real time. Would they do that today if that horse wasn't already out of the barn? So I think that they see drones as a potential threat, and they want to stop it before there's 70 jillion drones, unregistered drones, in the public's hand. The fact that not yet has anyone been like injured with a drone. Let's be straight. They're worried about weaponized drones. Like if you haven't put two and two together yet, it's not it's not Joe Schmo flying his Christmas present into the flight path at McCarran Airport that they're worried about. They are worried about that. It's somebody buying a DJI Mavic at Best Buy, putting a weapon on it and flying it into a crowd of people. That's what they're scared of, in my humble opinion. So that's why they're reacting so strongly, I think. But they'll just do that anyway, regardless of the rules, says Chris Croft. No, that's not true, Chris, because here's where we get back to the argument that prohibition doesn't work. Prohibition doesn't work absolutely, but it does work. If it is illegal to sell a drone in the United States without remote ID hardware on board, then you will not be able to go into Best Buy and buy a drone off the shelf that doesn't have remote ID. And, okay, well, that won't stop you from flying it wherever you want to fly it. That's true. But at the end of the day, they will be able to track it back. That's their thinking. So. And then presumably there will also be self-enforcing no-fly zones where you cannot fly into a no-fly zone. The drone won't let you. Oh, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen any paperwork, but it's not hard to guess that's once the drone is reporting its location in real time to a central database, obviously the next thing they're going to do is they're going to have self-enforcing no-fly zones, right? Yeah. Aaron Newman says they're scared of a 2-pound drone coming through the window of an aircraft at 150 knots. I don't think that's what they're scared of, Aaron. I mean, a little bit they're scared of that. I think they're more scared of using drones as weapons. That's just my I don't know. They're probably scared of that too. Paul DeLauder says they don't sell bombs, but bad actors hand make bombs. That's true, Paul. But if you could buy bombs at Walmart, would there be more or less bombings? Right now, yes, bad actors make... Oh, I've said the B word on a stream. Now I'll be demonetized forever. The thing is, if you can buy a weapon at a store off the shelf and it's easy to use, there will be more uses of that weapon than if you have to manufacture it yourself. So the reason here's why I talk about this. I think a lot of people see the FAA's encroachment on FPV and they don't actually understand why the government is doing what they're doing. They just go, man, the freaking government they just want to control us, man. That's not just that they want. I mean, they want that. But there are specific concerns and specific threats that they're worried about. And I think unless you understand that, then you're not going to actually be able to fight it effectively. Would it be easier to get the FAA to raise the 250-gram limit to, say, 1 kilogram, says Jakester. I don't see that happening. They've actually talked about maybe even getting rid of the 250-gram limit, so I don't see them raising it. Carlos Botros, thanks for a $5 super chat. Do a review on the Diatone Roma F5 HD. Maybe. A lot of people have been requesting that. $507RC, you are absolutely correct. The FAA has not done a good job at explaining why they need the regulations. That's exactly right. Part of any new regulation is supposed to be a risk analysis that justifies the new regulation. This is how the government is supposed to work, that we don't just regulate because we think that we might want to. You have to do a risk analysis and justify the regulation. And the FAA has not released the results of the risk analysis, even though it has been requested, and there may even have been a Freedom of Information Act request. But as far as I know, they have not actually released the risk analysis. So this potentially, obviously I'm not a lawyer, but this to me seems like one of the angles of attack was that this whole law is actually illegal. Because they have to justify the regulation. I don't think they have. Good point. Anyway. Well, let's see what have we done in this live stream. I said that KISS sucks and Flight 1 is better. That's how we started. And then we just got better and better from there. 10 minutes to the end of the stream, guys. 10 minutes till 10 p.m. Aaron Ciotti is going to be going on after me on his channel. Aaron, go ahead and start posting that link if you guys can't get enough of streaming. A-Lab says, what's the safest? I showed my private DMs with Trappy, although that was going to go in a video anyway, so it's not like it was anything seriously private. It just shows Trappy helping me do something cool for his own Crossfire. Crossfire V1 or V2? V2 OVs. 1 watt's more better than 250 milliwatts. Safest amps using a discharger, A-Lab. It doesn't matter. The batteries are designed to be discharged at tens of amps, and dischargers usually don't do more than like single digits. So basically discharge as fast as your discharger can take. The battery will be fine. Does the drone community have a seat on the FAA yet? I mean, there are people from the drone community in meetings. I don't know if anybody, like, I don't know if Dave Messina got a seat on the DAC. He has attended DAC meetings and talked to people on the DAC. Does SharkByte fit inside the goggle module bay? No, it does not. It fits to the front of the goggles. How about the DJI goggle module? There is no DJI goggle module. So since it doesn't exist, you could argue either that it does or doesn't fit inside the goggle bay, depending on your stance on the size of things that don't exist. Would you recommend a Hero 6 or 7? Hero 7 is better for flying. It has better bit rate, I think, and better image quality, but it's a little more expensive. You can get a refurbished Hero 7 for a pretty good price. I'd take the 7 over the 6. However, this camera is a 6. How's it going up there, guys? DJI does sit on the FAA panel, says Joseph Dawson, and DJI has been one of the only voices who actually argues in favor of hobbyists. Even the AMA has actually not really spoken out strongly in favor of hobbyists, at least not multi-rotor hobbyists. They've tried to defend their own fields. DJI, people say DJI is trying to screw us over. DJI is the only one actually fighting for us, more or less. So you figure that one out. DJI releases FPV goggles compatible with Betaflight and fights for hobbyists on the DAC, while the AMA doesn't. So, and a reality show star is president. I don't know. It's a strange world. Brennan Schulman out there repping. Day at the Range, thanks for $10. I'll be giving away 2 sets. Day at the Range will be giving away 2 sets of goggles, DJI goggles, on his channel to kick it off. DJI sent him some sets, so he's giving it away. For everybody out there who says that A Day at the Range is full of shit, he is apparently giving away 2 sets of DJI goggles on his channel. Assuming that he is not lying about that, as all the other things he has also lied about. I'm just kidding, A Day at the Range. Assuming that he actually gives away the goggles, maybe this will help convince some people, because what kind of idiot would give away $1,200 worth of goggles just to sell a fake story about making a HDMI out from DJI. Good job. Head over to ADayAtThe Range's channel and check him out. How do you get to his channel? ADayAtThe Range, you're a moderator. Post your freaking channel URL, okay? I mean, you sent me a photo, but who cares? They're just going to... Anybody who's not convinced is going to be like, whatever, that's fake. That's just a box. It's just a box with a DJI goggle with a wire coming out of it. That doesn't prove anything. Whatever. You plugged an HDMI cable into the box and you got an image. That HDMI cable could be coming from anywhere. You could have a smart controller off screen. They'll never be convinced. Just stop trying to convince them. Just be yourself. Jared, thanks for a $5 super chat. Can you explain the performance difference between the frame styles, X, H, dead cat, etc.? The X is most neutral on pitch and roll. The H pushes the front arms out and back to get the props out of the frame and is slightly less balanced in pitch and roll, but still flies fine. Oh, no, sorry. The H is still balanced, but it's wider and narrower. And the dead cat is not as balanced because the front motors are wider than the rear motors. But the truth is that most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference because the PID controller does a really good job of balancing those things out. Can you turtle mode with ProShot? Yes, you can. Lemley, ProShot supports the D-Shot commands. You can turtle mode with ProShot, like 99%. Is Betaflight running on Linux? No, it is not. Are we going to be getting some more 3D printing content out of you soon? Asks Wathnanak. Maybe. I do have the Sovol SVO3 that they sent me like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't unboxed it yet, so oops. They messaged me a little while back like, hey, how's it going? You had any problems with it? I'm like, well, no, because it's still in the box, and I guess that makes me a terrible person, so sorry. I didn't say that. I just didn't answer. I'm the worst. I am the worst. I am the worst reviewer. I am the worst shill. Everybody, I got to tell you, everybody out there, listen, you snip this and share it on Facebook. Everybody out there who accuses me of being a shill, go ask the manufacturers who send me products if they would agree. Because they send me products and I just put it on the shelf and I'm like, I don't feel like doing that. And then like a month later, they're like, hey, did you get the product? I'm like, yeah, I did. Oh, sorry, I didn't make the review. I'm joking, but I'm kind of not. You know what? Because I get up every morning and I answer questions and I answer messages and I talk to you guys and then I make a video and I think about what you guys want to see. And then the last person I think about at the end of the day is the vendors who sent me product. I do think about them, but last. Anyway, Adam Victor, I wish I got sent products for free. Hey, Adam, the products aren't free. You work your ass off to get the products. They don't send products for free just out of the goodness of their heart. They send products because they want you to do work for them. They want you to... I worked for 3 freaking years for free. 2 years. 2 years for free building my channel before I ever started getting any product sent from vendors. 2 years of posting videos nearly every day making videos. And then finally, Chris Hatcher, who was working at Lumineer at the Getafe at the time, sent me some product. And I was like, oh my God, I cracked the code. The products aren't free. Well, okay, I take that back. If they send me a product and then I don't review it and never look at it, it was free. I didn't work for that. Okay. Anyway, all right, guys. It's been a great stream. I don't know why I was in such a mood, but thank you for sharing it with me. Marley Leppo, thanks for 20 Norwegian kroner. It's 9:59 p.m., so I'm just going to take your kroner and not answer your question so I can get out of here. Flow State FPV. No, Marley Lepo, Racer Star, Star F7, True AIO. Racer Star is not known for top quality electronics. They're known for being inexpensive. And True AIO with ESC on board is difficult to make. So if the price was right, I would consider it. But overall, that would not be like the first product I would recommend to somebody. The Racer Star F4 AIO has been okay for a while, but the AIOs don't have a lot of pinouts. You got to really want a true AIO. Thank you, Flow State FPV, for $3.49 New Zealand. And that is going to do it. Nobody send me any more super chats because I got to get out of here. Aaron Ciotti stream is next. Definitely go check him out. He's going to post a link here. He's going to be doing his own thing. And Avi Guha, we need more girls in this hobby. Do you mean girls or do you mean women? We need girls too, I guess. Anyway. That's going to do it, folks. Bach FPV, could you explain the function of TPA? Yeah, so TPA is